Today I'm going to talk to you about Olsztyn, a lovely city in the Mazuriya region. Lots of lakes, lots of history, and a very beautiful place. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to another installment of Brit in Poland. So I'll very quickly just say this at the beginning of the video rather than waiting to the end this time. If you enjoyed the video, please like, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. I will gradually see more and more of Poland as time goes on. This is a fantastic country to explore, and there are a lot of hidden gems out there, so I hope you enjoy. Okay, so today's topic, we are talking about Olsztyn. So I went there in the summer, back in August, nice scorching weather. People had pretty much forgotten that Corona was going on. The infection rates in Poland were tiny at that point, but I think there was still some precautions, face masks on trains and things like that. Olsztyn is in the kind of northeast Mazuriya Varmi of Brovar, and it's actually the capital city of this particular region. The region it's in is also known as the region of 1,000 lakes, and if you watch my Australia video, that's part of this region, so it's probably only a train stop or two along the way. So I travelled there from Warsaw by train. It didn't take long, I think 2 or 3 hours, like a lot of the journeys. So very easy, very cheap, at about, I don't know, 40 zloty or so. So easy to get to. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the history of Olsztyn. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that old. It was actually founded in the 14th century, and like a lot of other places in kind of northern Poland, it was a bit of a Teutonic stronghold, and it remained that way for, I'd say about 100 years or so. So in 1466, it became part of the Polish crown, which I think was the second partition of Poland or something like that. So no, the second piece of form. I need to learn more about the intricacies of the history. And it remained Polish until 1772. When it was annexed by Prussia and pretty much kind of went into the German Empire after that, and actually didn't come back to Poland until 1945, after the Second World War. Now, Olsztyn in history, of course, is mainly known as it's like a very strong trade centre, and kind of craft works, and a kind of administrative centre. And it's also got a bit of science to it, especially in terms of astronomy. And okay, so I'm not trying to go too much into history, but that's just kind of the brief one there. So yeah, as I said, I went there in the summer, just for a weekend trip, because I wanted to get out of Warsaw and experience it. And the sun was glorious, and I also had a little guide on the first day, my friend Basha, who showed me around with some of her friends from Poznan, I believe. And we had a good walk through the city. And actually, it was quite a lovely walk. Olsztyn is a very, I would say, very picturesque place. The architecture is fantastic, and it's a little bit hilly, but not like demanding hilly. The city itself is interlaced with a lot of kind of woodland and sort of park areas, so it is really nice just to walk around. The centre, a lot of very, nicely kind of ornate buildings with, a lot of kind of decorative designs on the buildings, which I wish I knew the history of, but sadly I haven't been able to find that out. But it was really nice. We stopped for an ice cream, which I think you have to do everywhere in Poland, really. And it was a really nice day. And I went to like a barbecue in the evening, and then ended up going around the lakes. But let me get a bit more specific about the things you can see and the things you can do in Olsztyn. So firstly, one of the more notable sites is the castle, Olsztyn Castle, or otherwise known as the Castle of Varmian Bishops. Now, it's quite big, it's worth walking around. It was actually home to Nicholas Copernicus, who not only, was the kind of administrator of the castle and the sort of the region for a time, I believe between sort of 1516, 1521, but he was also in charge of the Polish defences during the Polish Teutonic Wars, which, I bet you didn't know that about Copernicus. So maybe I have to do a whole video on him, because he seems to kind of... So the castle, it houses the largest museum in Olsztyn, talking a little bit about the history, of course, as you'd expect in a museum, with a few sort of bits of contemporary art. And it was a nice little wander around. Bit more of a modern art gallery than for my liking, but still worth a look. You have a number of sort of churches and cathedrals, as you do in most places in Poland. I mean, it wouldn't be Poland unless the church was there somewhere. The St. James Cathedral in particular is actually stated to be one of the most beautiful kind of representations of Gothic architecture in Poland. So, again, something else to wander around and enjoy. But what are some of the other things you might want to do? So you've got the kind of like a sorry, I was going to say the Polish, like Ryba Stare. Oh no, and that's Old Fish. What's square? Ryba Miasta. So like the sort of the fish square. Now I stopped there for a quick drink and just took in the view. You've got a museum there to like sort of the history of newspapers, which I think is quite relevant in Olsztyn, because I believe Olsztyn was one of the places to first publish a newspaper in German and then in Polish later on, so it has a bit of a kind of a newspaper history. There was this place called the Varmi of Brovar, and this was it was one of these things, you look on the internet, it's like top 10 things to see, and it's like this place popped up. So I had to have a look, and they had some really nice craft beers. I have to admit, I treated myself to like 4 smaller ones, just so I could sample a few different varieties, and I wasn't disappointed. The food was a little bit gourmet, perhaps for my taste, but it was still very tasty. There was an interesting kind of like underground cellar, very much like a kind of a beer cellar feel, which sort of takes you to the outside. So well worth a visit. Staff were very friendly there as well. So what else have you got? You've got a planetarium, which sadly I didn't quite get to. I ran out of time on that one. But you've got an astronomical observatory as well. So you have that link. A lot of that, I believe, inspired by Copernicus' presence in the city. And of course, you have the lakes. So you have the big city beach, which was lovely. You know, it's a massive lake. You have the beaches, you have a few bars dotted around. You have like a kind of a sort of, not quite stadium, but there's like a stage for musical concerts and that kind of thing there. But otherwise, it's just a lovely walk around the water. Very, very relaxing, quite busy. But it was the summer, but of course you get a lot of young families there and people enjoying their time. Within the kind of proximity of the centre, there were 2 other lakes as well, which I, kind of went out to explore. So there was the Jezioro Kotowski. Now this is kind of a very wooded lake, and it was my aim to walk all the way around it. And at one point I kind of got stuck because it got a bit muddy and the path didn't really feel like a path anymore, so I had to take a bit of a diversion. So walking around it perhaps isn't that doable, but it was again, very relaxing, kind of forested area around it with a little beach, which was again massively overcrowded by families. You have the Dvugia, which is a much more kind of central lake, and very much kind of artificial in feel, because they have a whole path going right the way around it, a bridge across, people were fishing in it, that kind of thing. Lots of kind of signs talking about the local wildlife and that. So it was a nice walk, that as well. Okay, so what else did I see? When I was kind of walking, I did a lot of walking in the city. I discovered the university, of course, very much deserted. And I don't know, it almost had like a kind of a post-apocalyptic feel to it, because some of it looks a little bit ruined and it was so empty. But there was some interesting kind of decorative mosaics and things like that, which I found quite interesting to look at. I think it combines the universities of sort of several of the little kind of areas into one. So I imagine it's quite prestigious for the region. Sorry, I'm just checking my notes. How could I forget? Okay, so you have like Parks and Chvalny, or like Central Park, and this I believe has been kind of refurbished or kind of majorly built with thanks to the European Union. And this, not only was it massive big space to walk around with fountains and statues and things, but they had a place to imprison people who had coronavirus. They had this big cage in the center of the park, and people were just kept in there. Actually no, it was more of a kind of modern art exhibit. There was like this weird giant shaking hands thing, and kind of gas masks, and people like statues of people in hazmat suits and things like that. It was very, very bizarre, but very, very modern, and quite amusing. So that was fun. You have the city walls and the gates and that kind of thing. So again, I believe, in fact there's I remember this now. When you're walking through the main gate into the old town, you're supposed to close your eyes when you walk through and make a wish, because apparently then your wish will come true. I'm not sure mine has yet, but maybe these things take a bit of time, like all of the birthday candles I've blown out over the years, shooting stars I've seen. I'm sure they're all gonna just happen one of these days. Olsztyn is one of the happiest cities and one of the best places to work, apparently according to Wikipedia. People seem to be happy there, but then again it was the summer and people weren't worrying too much about Corona at the time. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say about Olsztyn. It's definitely worth going there for a weekend trip. Lovely to walk around, very scenic, and I think you'd enjoy it. You know, if you're taking time out in Poland, it's definitely one of the places I would recommend seeing. Thank you for watching. As I said at the beginning of the video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll keep on keeping on as long as people are watching my videos. So thank you very much, and stay safe and take care.